Okay. Black Myth Wukong. I said I wasn't going to be covering it, and really, this is not covering it. I just had some thoughts that were popping up over different things on Black Myth. So, back when Black Myth was first showing off, it was just before the PlayStation was PS5 was dropping. It was before I think it was just before also the Matrix Tech demo came out, and it was one of the very first things that we saw that was like next gen. It was, this was a few years ago now. It's what, 4 years, almost 5 years going on, and it was a pre-alpha stage thing, and it was blowing everyone's mind because the fur would, float a certain way. It was shiny, which is Unreal Engine 5. It's the shininess is kind of just a thing that Unreal Engine 5 does really well. And yeah, so fast forward a couple years, we end up seeing another trailer, and every single time that we end up seeing the trailers, it's just something in the animations to me seem a little stiff. They seem a little weird, seem a little off. Everybody, but again, because the internet trend dropped, and because the internet trend dropped, then Black Myth Wukong is greatest Souls like ever. Even though the developers are now trying to go against that, and they're like, it's not a Souls like, it's an action game. Then the whole thing of in my brain of like, oh geez, this is also Chinese made, and as we know, China has been doing some rough business over the last, especially since 2020. Uh, Chinese businesses, especially with the CCP and everything. And I know a lot of people are like, don't be talking about that stuff, but if you actually look into where the where this game is actually coming from, where it's being made. It is apparently from what the so this article also came out from IGN, and a lot of people had a lot of different takes with this, and no matter which way you go about it, it's some bad stuff here. Whether it is, dudes acting childish around women, or just like, really bad working conditions, just on the fact that, the a lot of the people that are involved with making this game, they just, they're very vocal on their hot takes, but also at the same time they want perfection, but then they are also doing hot takes against everyone. um yeah, there's a lot of, there's a lot of, well, I can't highlight, but you can see it right there on the screen. And again, even with just that stuff, whether it's, them not wanting to go along with the what the hell was it called, Sweet something or other company, that, so it makes sure that, basically the feminist movement of China has their own way of, female empowerment and all that stuff, and there's representation or whatever. But then you also have the whole thing of, where is this game coming out of? And I seen it in here. It's somewheres in this article. It talks about how the game is developed in Hangzhou. I'm thinking, I don't know how to say these names, but when you look into exactly what's the politics of this place, because my brain, I am slightly into politics here, but I'm like wondering, okay, so the Municipal People's Congress, which to my knowledge, that is the People's Republic of China, which is actually, that's the good side of the government, of the people actually doing business for themselves and not being, underneath any government controls so much of the CCP. Now, the CCP is not, they're not good guys. They're the Communist Party. And if you actually look into, so this place has a Chinese Communist Party who is currently serving, as CCP secretary to Hong Shao, whatever, however you say it. So they do have some ties to the place where the game is being developed, which means money wise. Now, what is interesting though on this is that Sony actually has a deal. I guess we can go over to Push Square, but Sony may have signed secret PS5 exclusivity for Black Myth Wukong. So, if Sony is doing publishing rights for the console version of this game, then I would think, since it is PlayStation exclusive on the console side of things, and they are doing a whole publishing thing, because if you click over here to, let's see here, on the PlayStation website itself, Wukong is being marketed on PlayStation's website itself and everything. So, and this is not bad on Sony. This is actually very good on Sony. So essentially what Sony is actually possibly doing here is, I mean, it's not good on Sony of they're working with a company that has just a lot of negativity behind the scenes of the company, but they are not, Sony is basically just being like, well, we want the game on our platform so we can get the money for it. Now, if you are taking the money out of Chinese CCP ruling and possibly splitting it with the People's Congress, I guess is what it's called over there, People's Republic, People's Congress. I heard that's People's Republic. I don't know. Again, I'm not giant into Chinese politics. I just know that there is some bad stuff happening over in China, politics wise and also kind of business wise and everything. But if Sony is essentially pushing the money back into the People's Congress, that's actually a really good thing. That means Sony has been also doing this with the China project too, which is essentially trying to make it so the development studios get the profits from everything, not the CCP over the people overlooking everything. So this is actually a good thing. And I have not really said too much about Wukong that is very good because of the whole thing of the developers behind the scenes and also the gameplay looking it kind of looks iffy. It's again, it definitely just feels so. Japan is like the king of action games, whatnot, between the Devil May Cries and Monster Hunters and this and that. Japan just makes, and Rise of Ronin and all that. Japan is like, they are the kings on the top of the mountain for action games. Now, Wukong looks like it's kind of on the same level, I would say, of maybe Stellar Blade. And Stellar Blade, again, Stellar Blade wasn't perfect. It was pretty good, but it wasn't perfect. There was definitely some struggles in the combat on that also. But anyways, this is good seeing this, so that between Sony possibly doing marketing publishing for this, and then on top of that it is where the company is located is essentially in People's Congress, even though CCP does have connections to it. All they're probably doing is making like the tax off from it. That's good. That's very good. That means that you can, like, for me, if I was to spend a dime on this game, that puts me more at ease that it's going, your money is kind of being sent between Sony publishing. And now, if you buy it on a PC, if you buy it through like an Epic Store or Steam or something like that, then there's a better chance that, there's a really good chance that, it might be going over to Communist Party, of everything, instead of People's Congress or People's Republic, I guess it would be, funding. So maybe I would say buy it on PlayStation if you're going to buy it. Because again, at this point, you can't be like, oh, nobody should be buying this game. People are going to buy the game. We know this. But I would say if you have a PlayStation, maybe pick it up on the PlayStation over the top of picking it up on PC, just on that fact that maybe Sony will, be nice about pushing the cash to where it should go back to developers, especially if there is, good-hearted developers working on the title, because there could be just a handful of people that are making a nuisance of themselves, and that's what this whole article was all about. It could very well just be like the higher ups they're being a nuisance. We have that in a lot of companies in the industry of all this stuff, but there is usually a lot of hard work. It takes a village to make a game, so there is usually a lot of hard working individuals that are they're good people. They're just trying to make something that is really cool. I have not so this came out back in November of last year. This article was posted. I didn't do anything on it because I was just like, I just don't care about Black Myth Wukong. Still kind of don't really care about Black Myth Wukong, but I figured let's just make a video going over that there, because there has been updates to this situation, and the fact that Sony is trying to get on board to actually help out the people who have worked on this game and to actually give them a fair share. I don't know if there's going to be another Black Myth game at all. Hopefully not, if the conditions are as rough as a lot of people are saying. The problem with all this stuff is everything that you're seeing of people complaining about the behind the scenes of the game company, it's being translated from Chinese to English in a lot of sense. So, or Spanish or whatever else. So it's kind of hard in that translation to figure out exactly the meaning of the wording and everything else, because it's two very different languages. 100%. I am, I will say that. So and it also very well could be a feminist group that is making the company look really bad or something. Who knows? We see that a lot. That is a giant thing in the industry also. But yeah, when it comes to Black Myth Wukong, again, overall, if I take all the politics out, if I don't even care that it's coming from China or whatever, the game still looks a little rough around the edges. It does. It really does. Even 4 years later, when they've done all the polishing and everything else, it's still, there's just a stiffness. There's another game also that's coming out that I think is like South Korean. It has the same problem. Stellar Blade also had that same problem too, of like it's really good, but it's still rough around the edges on its combat. There is, and they've addressed it in Stellar Blade, at least, like where they've tried to fix the combat up with the latest patches and everything. They might have done it. I haven't loaded up Stellar Blade in a while. I'm talking about like launch Stellar Blade. There was a couple things they had to tweak in there to make it really, really good. I think actually there was a patch update that fixed Stellar Blade. Anyways, back over to Black Myth. Yeah, it's just again, same kind of feel with Black Myth of like, okay, so the storyline, I get it. Wukong is like this giant storyline that everybody really loves, and there's going to be a lot of people that are going to be playing it, especially the Souls like community and everything. So again, not 100% against Black Myth Wukong on the PlayStation side of things, just because I think the cash flow might be handled better. And again, I would say, if you're going to buy it, pick it up possibly on the PlayStation because of the publishing for that. Again, the biggest thing of it is like, I've seen a lot of the Chinese market make knockoffs like Temu and all that stuff. Look up, if you look that stuff up, you'll see what I'm saying. And I just can't in good faith, promote the Chinese markets as much. If it's South Korea, cool. If it's Japan, cool. China's a little bit of a different situation. So again, that's the reason why I don't like to do a lot of stuff around Black Myth Wukong, but I definitely, there's some updates that I wanted to get out there just to push the word out there of that there might be actually a decent publishing option on this, and that's exactly what I said from day one. I've said that if they go outside of the Chinese publishing route and they go with some other way of doing it, then that'd be way better on the part of Game Science, and it looks like they've done that, so that's good. That's good. Yeah. Anyways, that's gonna do it for this one. Yeah, Black Myth Wukong comes out and it's right around the corner actually. It's about a month out. I think myself, I'm just gonna be playing Star Wars Outlaws. I probably won't be doing much with Black Myth Wukong because, in all honesty, again, the gameplay seems like it seems like it's AA with AAA visuals. Like the gameplay itself feels like it's gonna be a AA game just by seeing everything with it. Hopefully we get a demo and then everybody can kind of cool off on Black Myth Wukong, because I know like Black Myth Wukong, it got 2 million views on YouTube, that first trailer. I mean, GTA 6 got 20 million, but still yeah, and again, until the game comes out and people start getting hands on with it and they're like, ugh, why the game feels a little weird, then it'll start to cool off. Again, I think this game's gonna last for maybe a week, and and then it's just the same exact thing as Stellar Blade. It's that same exact thing. And then there's going to be probably that batch of fan base that it's all like, it's a cult classic, it's amazing, it's this, it's that, and the other thing. Because you end up having that around, especially for those that have been fans of, I guess there's an anime or something that is Wukong or something like that. I don't know. Anybody who's a fan of the story, it's like the story itself seems interesting. It's just this project right here is it's a little rough around the edges. But yeah. Anyways, again, not totally shitting on Black Myth Wukong for once. They made a smart move, try, or at least they made a good move when it comes to publishing with Sony. So possibly the funding goes in a better way. And again, this is not me being a PlayStation fanboy either. This again from day one, I was saying this stuff. So yeah, that's gonna do it for this one. If you would hit the subscribe button, of course. I gotta say it every single video. Trying to get that 1,000 subs by the end of the year. You know what it is. And again, hopefully the Black Myth Wukong fan base don't come after me for just making a video around this because they've already done it once before. Yeah. Again, I'm not totally negative on the game right now. I am. I'm just doing an update on it. So, anyways, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for stopping by, and as always, I will see you next time.